John Carney, you wrote and directed Flora and Son, about a really complex parent-child relationship that starts to really come together through music. Being a musician yourself, what made you want to bring that love and knowledge of music into feature films, as you've done like multiple times now?
I think I'm just trying to capture the lightning in a bottle that I experienced as a truant schoolboy back in the 80s in my parents' house, going through my brothers and sisters' record collection, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My parents are at work. It's an unusually sunny Dublin day. Stevie Wonder is on the turntable. I've stolen two of my brother's cigarettes, and this was just an ongoing source of kind of heaven on earth for me for a couple of years when I was in high school. And I think I'm just trying to recapture that magical feeling that music had for me back then, as a kid. And it doesn't have the same sort of potency now as an adult. But I sure as hell I'm repeatedly trying to sort of relive that through these movies.
And I think one of the hardest things to depict in film is sort of the creative process of making art. How do you approach that in showing us the inspiration and the hard work that goes into it?
I mean, I don't find it that hard, probably because I'm not necessarily great at art myself. So maybe I found that I'm quite good at portraying how art is made or something like that. Because, I don't know. For me, in a way, great artists are probably too concerned with creating art than documenting how they do it. And so I would put myself in the bracket more of sort of, I'm not a hobbyist because I take my work seriously and it pays the rent and stuff. So it is my job. But I love making music. I don't make it particularly well, but I kind of know how to make it, and I love looking at people making music and figuring out what they're doing. And I wonder if musicians happen to be uniquely good because maybe they've got a tool in front of them or something. But there's stuff on YouTube that I will go into, or there's certain teachers that I've met along the way who have, in 5 minutes brought to life how something was created. There's great clips on the New York Times web page about the creation of songs. They're just so fascinating the way musicians can talk. Because I think a painter can't talk the way you can when you've got a guitar or a piano to sort of illustrate what you mean. You can play a chorus to somebody to show, it's different with painting or poetry or something like that, or the higher arts. But with music, you can sort of go, here, this is what I mean, and play. And I just love watching that happen. And I love filming my made-up versions of watching people create music.
And how did you conceive of this central character, Flora, in particular? Like, what was the inspiration for her and this relationship with her son?
I mean, I thought that I didn't set out to want to make a story about a mother, or a mother with a single mom with a kid or anything. I never sat down with sort of that criteria, a thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to do another musical film. I didn't want it to be a romantic love story, and I think I'm not sure if I would have gotten away with it, having done that a few times now. So I didn't want the main A story to be, a romantic story between a girl and a girl, or a boy and a girl, or a boy and a boy. I wanted to explore how I could maybe take the sort of the quality of a romantic relationship and the poignancy of a movie relationship, but with music, the way I had done in these other films, and move that into a sort of a more familial, platonic arena, and see if I could get the same emotional response to a non-romantic relationship. And then I, was thinking about my own mother and how significant she was in terms of my musical career and life. She's somebody who bought me a guitar at a time that I was really, really wanted it. She didn't get me a couple of presents that I really did want when I was a kid, like a BMX bike and a pair of roller skates one year, which I still hold very close to my ego, my fragile ego. But she did get me the bass guitar I asked her for. And I interpret that now as sort of like good parenting, in that, like, now as a father, where your kids are asking you for something every day, and I can, funnily, is the only time in my life that I could afford presents for my kids. If I had kids 10 years ago, forget about it. They'd be eating granola. But granola is perfectly good, but you know what I mean. So I was sort of, I interpreted that as like, that's the gift he needs. The other stuff he doesn't need so much. And I sometimes now look at my own kids and I'm like, you don't need that and that, but it's important to know as a parent when they really need the thing they're asking for, and to get that right, which is something that my mother really did with music for me.
And you wrote the songs for the film. Does sort of the songs come first, or does the story come first? Like which kind of, or do they sort of develop in tandem as you're
No, no,
creating
no.
this?
I mean, they kind of develop in tandem, but the story has to be leading. You know, if they're tracks, that the story is ahead, and the songs are catching up all the time. So they're written during the same creative period, but I think the script, I think it's important as a filmmaker, you know, who deals with music and stuff, to write the script and the story and the characters first, and then the songs. Because otherwise, I think if you write the songs first, I think the movie is going to become more of a jukebox thing where you're just joining, you know, you've got these dots and you're joining them together. It has to be first and foremost a film that should be watchable on mute, you know, without any of the songs there. It's obviously better with them, but it doesn't depend upon them. You know, it's not an album, it's a movie first and foremost. So it's got to have story and narrative and plot and character and all of that. And then the songs are kind of knocking around in my head, and I've got verses or slugs in the script where I'm like, that's definitely a song. Not sure what it does yet, but I'm pretty sure she's going to sing it. Maybe it's acoustic guitar. I'll put it away. I'll send it to Gary Clark, or, you know, and he'll come back with something, or I'll send him one of my ideas half formed, which he then turns into something nice, which is kind of the way our relationship works. So yeah, no, I mean, right now it's important for me to, and when I look at good musicals, it's like the dialogue is as good as the musical, as the songs here. And also the songs are as good as it's like the two things are just perfectly serving each other incredibly well, you know, and kind of married together in a very cool way. You know, things like Guys and Dolls or Singing in the Rain, where it's like reams of great, you know, they don't skimp on really smart writers and great dialogue in those movies. They're not, the best musicals aren't frivolous and silly and Broadway or whatever, you know, however people look at these things. They're a sophisticated movie. You know, musicals are as sophisticated as any drama.
And you know, between writing and directing and music in your life and career, do you have a primary passion as an artist? Does one of those stand out as like the most important creative outlet for you?
I think probably music. Music is more therapeutic to me. You know, as you can see very conspicuously in the back of shot, I have a piano and there's a few guitars lurking around. Fender Telecaster there. But music is therapeutic and beautiful and romantic to me. Filmmaking, I have to say, I probably, if I had to do without either one, I would probably do without music, because movies are intellectually so stimulating, or good movies, or, you know, or good TV is so intellectually stimulating and so helpful in terms of, you know, when films are good or movies and TV are good, they kind of help you navigate stuff in life. I'm not sure music does that to the same degree, but music is it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a wonderful time in my day each day that I sit down and play the piano or work a song out. It's kind of meditative. I think my blood pressure goes down. It's a private, lovely time on my own. But movies are films are whatever you want films to be. There is some of the best things in my life that ever happened was in a movie theater or my parents' kitchen watching a VHS of like Casablanca or Guys and Dolls or an Ingmar Bergman movie or a Billy Wilder comedy.
Well, congratulations on Flora and Son, and thank you so much on saying thank you so much for talking with me about it.
Thank you.